Welcome to another edition of Women's Wrestling Weekly, the show. I am Kyle Klingman, joined by a man who reads The Economist cover to cover every week. It's Scott Beck. And Scott, we are going to go into the Matrix. I don't know which pill I'm going to swallow, whether it's the red or the blue. We didn't mention this last time. There's another twist in the 110-pound Iowa saga as we think about going forward, the potential of one qualifier for each team. We don't know what it's going to be for the NCAA, but the NCAA is taking over. Nyla Valencia has been injured the last two seasons, and she might be the best of the group. It's hard to say that because Ava Bayless is a returning national champion, but if you have Nyla in the mix, you have Ava Bayless in the mix, you have Val Solorio in the mix, you have another returning national champion, Emily Gonzalez, in the mix. I think I'm taking the blue pill. I don't know that I want to go down that rabbit hole and try to figure that one out.
Yeah, I mean, that's just so much depth. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. And, we don't know where Nyla Valencia is and when exactly she'll come back. I remember it was at the 23 U.S. Open. I was in the trainings area with my daughter, and that's when Valencia got hurt, went in there, and you knew it was a bad injury right away. You could just tell. It was like an ACL kind of situation, and she knew it, her mother knew it, and hopefully she'll when she does come back, she'll be healed and ready to go. I think she's an exceptional athlete and very, very good, and it creates more of a dilemma, but it would be good to see her back, and I expect great things from her when she does come back.
Even more of a dilemma. Kendra Ryan of North Central will be out because she's a senior. She'll be graduating. Samara Chavez of King will be graduating. So you have Sage Mortimer, who is the favorite right now, but you could have number two, three, four, and five in the Iowa wrestling room. That's how deep it is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a great way. It'll great to see how it ultimately plays out. I don't know. Maybe they all stay at Iowa. Maybe people transfer. I just don't know. But and then yeah, when you have Mortar in there, that's just a bunch of tremendous wrestlers in the same weight. And you know what? It's funny. Sometimes we think about these things, and they don't always work out the way we imagine them. So I think we'll just have to let time, play this out and see what happens.
And again, we don't know what the NCAA will do at this point. This is all speculation. It could be any number of things. But Ashley Flavin posted something that was interesting on Twitter. She said that if the NCAA goes to 15, which I don't think they will, there's going to be a suggestion to go to 15 for the NAIA so that they can match what they do. So I don't see that happening. I think at most it would be 12. I'm probably leaning toward the one qualifier because it is the NCAA, but again, we don't know what's going to happen, Scott.
Yeah, and I don't know if all the qualifiers have been decided yet, but what we've heard, it could be the talent may be too stacked. Also in the qualifiers, I'm hearing talk of a 16 athlete bracket, which I don't like at all. I think especially if you have some of the weight classes, the talk we're hearing about the qualifiers would just be overly stacked. Some very good wrestlers that don't even make it to the tournament. I think having a 32 person bracket is ideal. I think 16 would just be horrible. And I think there's enough athletes to have a 32. But, at the end of the day, dollars and cents dictate some of this. And the NCAA, it could be cost constrained. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Another twist in this is that when the NCAA takes over, they pay for each athlete to go. Right now, if you are sending an athlete to the National Collegiate Women's Wrestling Championships, that comes out of your budget. And talking to Jim Miller, who was the Wartburg coach for the men's team through 2013, could have changed, but based on the qualifiers you have, depends on how many coaches you can send and how many the NCAA will pay for. So just some different things that are going to be at play for all NCAA teams going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have the information, but if it turns out that okay, so we get wrestling sanctions in an NCAA sport, and because of money, and the NCAA is now paying to send the athletes, we cut the number of participants and shrink the tournament and make it less deep. I don't think that's helping women's wrestling. So that to me is counterintuitive, especially if now the teams are funding it. Maybe there can be some type of hybrid where they pay for the the first a certain amount per team, and if you have more qualifies, you have to fund it. I don't know, but the idea of shrinking a tournament while we're trying to grow it, I don't like it all.
We'll see how this plays out. It is the fascinating storyline for the rest of the year until we find out. On the NAIA side, this just hit me, Scott, looking at 131 pounds. You have Carolina Moreno one right now in the NAI rankings. Mercy Adecore, Sochi Motopedis, Adoki from Dickinson State, Sarah Savage, returning national finalist, who also reached the U20 World Team Trial Finals. She's fifth right now in the NAI. If that doesn't show you how deep it is right now, I don't know what does.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at who's ahead of her. I mean, these are, people that have competed in age groups, senior world championships. I think one of them, final X participants. I mean, this is not like, a bunch of scrubs just jumping ahead of her. I mean, these are world-class athletes. I mean, that's unbelievable. And it shows you the depth, of the NAI in certain weight classes. So, we have yet to say, like, it is not clear that, oh, the NCAA, yes, you have Iowa right now. That's a kind of clear number one. But then I think if you jump and you assign points of, 2 through 8 teams, or 2 through 8, athletes in each weight class, I'm not convinced the NCAA is any better than the NAIA at all.
And then just jumping down someone we both think highly of, Pedro Spicio is ranked eighth right now at 131. So again, just more depth upon depth.
Yeah, I mean, she's very good. As I had said before, she's had some good wins, some bad losses, a little inconsistency. But yeah, I mean, the idea of somebody like, I think she was a 3 or maybe a 4-time Hawaii State champion. It's at least 3, I believe. I mean, the idea, and she's tough, and she's, had her moments where she's looked really, really tough. The idea of that being number 8 is just shows you that.
Klippan Lady Open. I like this tournament because we send some of our age level wrestlers to go wrestle in the senior tournament. Good Canadian presence. They kind of dominated in the senior Lady Clip-On. Scott, when you look at the Clip-On Lady Open, anything on the senior side that struck you as interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got a lot of medals from some of our younger up and coming seniors. Everest Laydecker did not win the tournament. She took a bronze medal, but along the way, she took out a senior world medalist from Poland, Krawczyk. So I think that was very impressive. 5-1 in a bronze medal match. And good performances from Carissa Qureshi, Hannah Eartham, Destiny Rodriguez. So the youth movement is alive and well, and I like this tournament especially that it's a great transitional tournament for the very good U20 U23s as they transition into the senior.
When you look at that transitioning in, what do you think that they gain being age level going to a senior tournament? Do you think it's overwhelming for these girls?
No, I think the ones we're talking about are ready, and they wrestle seniors in practice or some of the domestic tournaments. I think you need to the difference is not necessarily, I mean, obviously technique evolves as you jump levels and move up the ladder, but it's like preparation, like you just watch the intensity, the physicality, the maturity. So a lot of these young ladies are in different states of age or physical maturity, but you're wrestling seniors that have strength. They're starting to now wrestle in these tournaments. This tournament has a lot of Europeans, so you're seeing Germans, French. Japan used to go; they weren't there this year. But Austrians, a lot of Canadians. So you're starting to get the feel of these different styles as well. We wrestle kind of a certain style. You start to wrestle these Europeans; they wrestle very differently, and it's a very physical style, a lot of aggressive, hard hand fighting. So I think it's good for them to experience that, and I think they gain a lot. And sometimes they'll have some good success and they kind of get pounded on, which is good too, just to kind of see what's out there.
We won't dwell on this too much. You can look up the information, but regionals and conference are coming up. Regionals for the NCAA are coming up this weekend. So there are 8 regionals. Top 4 qualify for the National Collegiate Women's Wrestling Championships, which will be March 7th and 8th in Coralville, Iowa. Following weekend, NAIA conference tournaments. It's more complicated. We won't get into how you qualify, but essentially, if you win the NAIA conference championships, you are automatically in. And then if you want to be in the mix, you want to be in the top 17 in the rankings. We'll put the link up here so you can find out on the article about how things go down for that. But keep tabs of that. That's going to be important for the college national championships coming up in March. We're going to spend most of our time talking about a transition and the career of Sarah Hildebrandt. She retired from active competition. She's going to assume the assistant coaching role at USA Wrestling for the women's freestyle team. Let's first just talk about her career, what she accomplished. Overview: she's 31 years old, Granger, Indiana. She was a four-time WCWA national finalist, two-time champion, won it in 2014 and 2015 for King University under Jason Moorman, qualified for the 2016 World Championships, and then she had a great medal run. 2018 World Silver, made the 2019 World Championship team at 53 kilograms, then dropped for the Olympics down to 50 kilograms. 2020 Olympic bronze, 2021 World Silver, 2022 World Bronze, 2023 World Bronze, and then culminates with an Olympic gold medal. Truly one of the all-time greats in U.S. history, Scott.
Absolutely. I mean, she's a tremendous athlete, tremendous person, tremendous leader. And she stayed with the sport. She always had difficult weight classes, always had Maria Stadnik, always had, from China, either Sun or Fang, who's exceptionally difficult, a Mongolian who was very good, who beat her twice in the World Championship semifinals. So, story of kind of improvement, perseverance, commitment. She just decided to really go all in. Cut down to 50. Was an absolute beast at that weight class. And it just ended in a storybook kind of situation, winning the gold medal in an exceptionally difficult weight class. Had to exercise some demons and beat some people that had beat her along the way. And I'm really excited to have her, moving on now as the assistant national coach. I think it's great for the team. It's great for her. And, it's going to be great.
Really a career like no other because she started at 55 kilograms, so 123 pounds in college, and then she wrestles at 55 kilos. And she's talked about this, making the commitment to diet, getting her weight down, getting her weight managed. Then you cut down to 53, which is 116 pounds. Then you make the decision after the 2019 Worlds where you didn't medal to cut down to 50 kilograms to 110 pounds. So you look at that as you get older, it's harder to maintain a lower weight class. So you start at 123 and drop 13 pounds consistently down to 110 pounds. That is the definition of discipline, especially when you get into your early 30s and it gets tougher.
Yeah, and she did it in a all-in way where it was a year-round kind of lifestyle commitment, of watching calories. It wasn't like, binging, just gaining a ton of water weight, losing it the night before, feeling like garbage. I hate to say starved herself, but she lived on just enough, the right amount of calories, worked with nutritionists, maintain it where her walking weight was never way heavier than what she was going to be competing, maintains her strength. I mean, she's, at 50 kilos relative to some of the other athletes, she looks very tall and kind of skinny, but she's very muscular. And I think almost any of the ladies that wrestle in the room on the team would say she's one of the strongest in the room. I mean, she could go up to 62 kilos and go with anybody, if not beat them, and be stronger than them. So, it really was an all-in commitment. And to do that, it's very hard, and she did it over time, which is really difficult. But I think she said, I don't want to have any regrets. I want to be the best I can. And I think at this weight class, I really have a shot to win world and Olympic gold medals.
Terry Steiner, the head women's national team coach for USA Wrestling, just talked about her being the blueprint of doing it right and being that person you can look to on how to continue to make incremental gains. And she did that over the course of her career. As you mentioned, Scott, she wrestles at 50 kilograms, one of the toughest weight classes in the world. And once she dropped down to 50, she was an absolute force there. Every time she was at 50 kilograms, and was in a world or Olympic competition, she medaled. And I think that speaks volumes for what she was able to do and the consistency she was able to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, her game, she always got she always got better. She has exceptional leg lace and a leg lace series instead of getting to it, but she developed the gut wrench on her feet. She's very good at short offense, but has leg attacks as well. Great hand fighter, positional awareness. And, in that weight class, she had a hard time with the Mongolian who she ultimately beat in the Olympics, I believe in the semifinals, but that was more of a difficult matchup. I mean, that Mongolian is very good and very talented, but Sarah's very tall, and that girl was very short and stocky. And it was just a very tough stylistic matchup. And she had beaten Sarah twice. She had to, start beating consistently. She started beating Stadnik, who she had always take out. And then there was always a difficult Chinese, whether it was, Sun, who is an absolute beast, a world champion, Olympic silver medalist, or Fang, who gave Yui Sasaki very tough matches, and Sarah beat her in a control good match in the Olympics. So it wasn't like dropping to 50 gave her like this joke weight class where, oh, if I just drop, there's nobody there. She was dropping into a weight class of highly accoladed athletes, and Yui Sasaki's weight, who's one of the goats, and barely has lost in her life. So I think it was just, she said, this is the weight where I think I can be the most effective and use my tools the best.
When I think of Sarah, I think of the 2018 World Championships where she defeated Weaker by a tech and just the energy she has. And I think when you think of Sarah Hildebrandt, I think the first thing that comes to mind, at least for me, is the magnetism. You want to see her win. She has the personality. She has the style that's entertaining. She really was everything that you would want out of a wrestler personified. And you saw her star rise after that world championship. She became a larger than life figure. She had the endorsements. You wanted to be around her, and I think that's why it's such a good fit for why she's going to be good in the coaching role.
Yeah, I think, she's very articulate, can laugh at herself, joke around, but she just has a lot of spunk and energy. And this, don't be deceived by the giggles. She's exceptionally intense. I remember the first time I met her personally. It was 2018 at the tournament in Ukraine. I was surprising my daughter on her 18th birthday, who was competing there. And we were in the hallway, and Sarah was there and really, really upset. And Coach Steiner, and Steiner was talking to her. And I joined the conversation. And Sarah had just kind of gone outside and been pretty much mugged by 4 to 5 local Ukrainians, kind of surrounded her, grabbed her wallet and her passport. And she was, obviously terrified, but she didn't want them to get her wallet or her passport. They like were looking in, they grabbed some money, then she quickly grabbed the wallet and the passport and kind of pulled it out of them and ran away, and then came back, was very shaken and upset. And we're in the hallway kind of doing a post-op on it, and Sarah's still just distraught. And I said, really, what, you're okay. I said, Sarah, let's put this in perspective. You're okay. What'd they take? She lost like $40. And I said, okay, so you're in a foreign country. You just got pretty much assaulted and mugged by 4 to 5 people. You got your passport back. You got your wallet back. They got $40. I said, you won. Like, this is the best outcome that possibly could have happened in that scenario. So you just have to take it as a life learning lesson and move on. But she was just the type of person that she was still pissed about it, that they could do this to her, that she, I'm not saying she allowed it to happen, that she would put herself in a position where she was vulnerable like that and could be taken advantage of. But that's how kind of intense she was and is, and you could just see that in her, just disgusting that. I remembered, and she won the tournament and pretty solidly. But I just remember saying to myself, this is an intense character,
But it's that combination of being intense on the mat, but then having that magnetic sunshine personality off of it. That's a rare thing to have. Not many people have that ability to connect with the outside world, but still be intense on the mat.
Absolutely. And yeah, again, she's an absolute savage in the room. In practice, she's very deliberate. She felt for the Olympics, she wanted to really have control of her preparation, do everything right, but in the way she wanted. She brought her brother Drew in, who was her partner for that process, which I thought was a tremendous sacrifice, on his part. So she can kind of really have control. She knew what she wanted. She's very meticulous in analyzing her practices, her wrestling, her emotions, just very aware and very good. And this is where I'll transition, when you talk about her being a coach, right? Coach Steiner isn't going to be the women's coach forever, right? So you say, what's going to happen? And in my opinion, this is like the perfect person to have as the assistant coach. I'm not like, handing her the national coaching position, but it's a perfect kind of setup. I don't know how long Coach Steiner will want to do it. Will it be through this quad, maybe one more quad, but either way, if Sarah enjoys it and she's good for the program. To me, she seems like the perfect person because she knows all these athletes. She's been where they were. She understands them, and she could work with Coach Steiner. And she's already kind of on some of these trips been a pseudo kind of additional coach, a mentor, talking to the girls, whether it's in the sauna or just sitting down after, joking around, having them over for dinner. But she's a exceptionally good role model, and I think a phenomenal coach because she's very, very technical. And she also can be really serious and she could joke around and make things lighter when they need to be and be a badass when she needs to be. And I think it's a perfect mix. And I think it sets up the women's program in a very good direction, moving forward. And I also think it just, it's a tribute to her. I think we've talked about this, for us as a country to go to the next level, we need our great athletes to have avenues to move on in the sport, to be the next level of coaches. And yeah, there can be some men coaches, but it's especially good when the ones doing it for women or women's coaches, and role models, in my opinion.
And it culminated with an Olympic gold medal. So the process works. I think that's a huge part of this, as you can see that she stayed with it. She won world medals. It culminates in 2024 with an Olympic gold medals, as you said, the storybook ending. And you get to carry that on with Team USA, knowing that we have this person where you can say, that's the person, that's the model. It worked for us.
Yeah, and just saying it worked doesn't mean it worked without ups and downs. Sarah knows what the ups and downs are like. She's had tremendous, disappointment. She's never been happy taking a silver medal at the World Championships, which is why she's great. Goal was a World Olympic gold medal in a very difficult weight class. She had heartbreak at the 2021 Olympics. Lost in a very difficult fashion. Came back, showed a tremendous amount of guts. Winning by tech for bronze. She got the best she could at that point, stayed in and got a gold medal in a very difficult weight class. So, yeah, I mean, she stayed the course, and it doesn't always mean just by staying the course, you get what you want. But at the very least, even if it didn't turn out this way, she wasn't going to not have achieved the goal because she didn't do everything she could in terms of living the right way. She brought in her brother. She had the right, she did what she thought she needed. And, I don't know if she would have retired if she didn't win the gold medal. Maybe she was stuck around another 4 years. I don't know. And that's not to say either that, this is she's not made necessarily a life choice. It's very possible. I hope not. I hope she ends it the way she did and moves on and transitions to coaching. Just for her sake, it's great to end the way she did. But who knows? Maybe she'll compete again at some point. Maybe she'll get the itch. That's certainly up to her. And I also like the idea that you're not signing your life away, right? So, options are open. But I think right now for her, I hope this is, a choice. And I'd love to see her at some point transition, up the ladder to be the next national coach.
Let's look specifically at the year 2021. After the 2019 Worlds, she wrestled at 53 kilograms, did not place or did not medal. Then COVID happened, so you have the Olympics being delayed for a full year. Win a bronze medal at the Olympics and then a silver at the 2021 World Championships a few months later. But we have to look at the devastation of what happened there. Semifinal loss where she was up 7-1 at the end of the first period in the semifinals, then loses 10-7, gets thrown for four in the final 10 seconds of that semifinal match, misses that opportunity to wrestle Yui Sasaki in the Olympic finals. You think she's set up for the World Championships. Then she loses to Yoshimoto in the finals of the 2021 Worlds. I think that was a turning point moment where she had to decide, do I want to continue on with this sport? It's so devastating. It's so heart-wrenching to be that close. I just wonder if she would have even won that 2021 Worlds, if it would have ended with an Olympic gold medal. So I'm glad, hey, everything works out the way it works out. But then you talked about 2022, she loses to the Mongolian in the semis. 2023, she loses to the same Mongolian in the semis, even though she had teched her before. Then you get into the Olympic Games. Strange situation in 2024 Olympics, which we'll talk about. But let's talk about that 2021 year and what that meant for the future of her career.
Yeah, I think it just kind of, she had heartbreak, but I think it just kind of motivated her more. I think it just hardened her where she said, I'm going to do this. I've had this adversity. Let's not downplay, that match at the Olympics. Sun was exceptionally good. She lost a controversial end of match against Sasaki in the World Cup in 2017. Um, Another crazy anecdote, Sun. So Sasaki lost in the semifinals of the Nationals to make the World Championship team in 2018. And she lost to Ire, and then Ire lost to Yoshimoto. Yoshimoto goes to World Wins. Then they had a wrestle off, and Ire wrestles Sun in the Worlds and doesn't medal. She gets thrown. She got head pinched for four twice, and she loses. So that kept Yui Sasaki alive. So Sun actually beat Ire, which kept Sasaki alive for wrestle off. She then makes the Olympic team, wins the Olympics, and the thank you from Sasaki to Sun was taking her in the finals after she beat Sarah. But my point of this is let's not underestimate, how good Sun was. She was exceptionally good. Sarah started that match great, and I think it was just one of these situations. If you watch that match, in the second period, she went from predator to prey, kind of was leading and tried to kind of close the match out. And against a 2013 world champ, somebody's almost beat Sasaki a couple times, an absolute uh, beast, and she just lost a sad match. Lost in the Worlds to Yoshimoto, very close, another close one. And I think it hardened her. I really do. And she stayed the course. So, it is kind of like a fairy book kind of, ending.
And then the way it ends, just a bizarre 2024 Olympics. Probably never seen anything like this where Yui Sasaki gets beat by Vinesh Phogat in the first round, and then the weight gate where she misses weight on that second day. And then you have the Cuban who lost to her in the semifinals, ends up being in the Olympic finals. Sasaki gets bronze, and then Sarah had defeated the Cuban before and she ends up winning the Olympic gold medal. Sasaki gets bronze. Incredible ending to an incredible career.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. But let's first look at just, if you look in depth at that tournament, her side of the bracket was insane. I mean, you had, Maria Stadnik, was on her side, who lost on criteria to the Mongolian. So Sarah had to beat Fang from China, who's wrestled Sasaki tough a number of times and exceptionally good. She beats her 7-4. Then she had to beat the Mongolian, who just beat Stadnik on criteria. The Mongolian had beaten her the last two times in World Semis, beats her. Then you have that weird craziness. And then going into the match, it was also a little weird because Sasaki thought that she was supposed to have to wrestle, Vinesh, and then she doesn't make weight. She thought she was going to win by forfeit. And she was kind of told that at first, but she didn't get crazy. Then that's an emotional high and low where you think, okay, I'm winning by forfeit, which it should be. The person doesn't make weight. You should be in the finals, but there's some rule. It really is there, I guess. And they take the Cuban in. Sarah had killed her earlier. She controlled the match. The Cuban never came close to scoring. And, again, she would have beat Vinesh, no doubt in my mind. And the way she was wrestling and her mentality. And all you can do is wrestle who they put in front of you. She had to go through a beast of a bracket. Yeah, I think would have beat Sasaki, to be honest with you. I think it was her tournament. I think the cards would have fallen her way and she was going to win that tournament. It was just destined, in my opinion.
She does win the Olympic gold medal. Now she's moving into a new position. But as we dive further onto her personality and what she brings, I think the thing I'll remember too about her career athletically is just what she brought even to the mix zone after interviews. She in 2019 Final X, she wears the Wonder Woman singlet. To me, that's her. That's absolutely who Sarah Hildebrandt is. She was engaging with the media. She knew how to have fun. I think she even came in like a superhero once and said, "How do I look?"
How do I look?
And she just showed her personality in those ways. I just think we need that. You could tell little girls looked up to her. She was a celebrity. Even after she won the bronze medal in 2021, everyone wanted to talk to her. They had a huge celebration in Indiana for her because she's that popular. I can't imagine what it was after she won the Olympic gold medal. It's so neat to see that she's going to carry this legacy on in a impactful way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you saw, like, I remember I was watching something on UWW where they were just asking her questions like myth or, fact or myth, and asking her a series of questions. Just the way she engages with the media, she's got this bubbly personality. And, you're looking at it and you're saying, oh, this person's so bubbly. And like little people know she's an absolute savage. And, in practice, when she's zoning in, there is no distraction. It's not, I mean, she is, trying to rip your head off and she is focused and she beats her. I've heard stories of her just, under her breath, just going after herself, even if she scored or she didn't like the way she finished something. It wasn't exactly what she wanted because she knew to win a world or Olympic title, everything had to be perfect. The wrestlers she's wrestling. So it wasn't good enough to take somebody down or to drill something. It had to be drilled perfectly. And she was her hardest critic. But at the same time, it was bubbly, engaging. And I think that duality of personality is really, attractive, to see, for a coach and a leader.
Let's also just look at the journey of how you get there. I think a lot of times we look at age level success, rightly so, because if you win an age level medal or especially gold medal, it seems like you're on a path to doing well. She made 3 age level world teams. She got 11th at the 2012 Junior Worlds, 2012 World Universities got 8th, and then 10th at the 2023 Junior World. So she never won a world medal. Just even looking at one of her teammates from King, Kayla Brendlinger had defeated her early on. 2009 girls USAW Folk Style Nationals lost 7-1. They both went to King. Brendlinger finished 4th and 6th, and then we know what Hildebrandt's career ended up being. But it just shows you, even at that age level success, that if you go through the formula and you keep building up and you keep working hard, success can be on the horizon. But you have to do it the right way, and it's excruciatingly painful to get there. It's detailed precision work that you talked about. But Sarah Hildebrandt did that work, and she passed a lot of people that were ahead of her.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unrealistic to like, as a younger athlete, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, look up to, Amit Elor, but that's so rare that you jump and are winning world titles, in juniors at the same time you're winning seniors. Like, at seven that, you're 16 and, you're missing the Olympics by a day and you probably would have won, when she was turning, 18 for the 20 Olympics. That's, I don't want to say unrealistic because it happens, but the odds of doing it the slow path are almost impossible. But that one's unrealistic. It takes time. Even, you look at Helen Maroulis. I mean, she got beat when she was younger. She was, Tatiana Suarez was beating her. Obviously, she had a lot of success. But that's another anomaly. A lot of the athletes get beat. It takes time to move up the ladder. And again, you and I have talked about this, many, many men and women that are phenomenal and never make a senior world team, So it doesn't guarantee you the success either. But if you do it the right way, you keep trying to learn, work hard, in many cases, at some point, you get your shot, but it's hard. It's brutal. It's difficult, and Sarah, I just don't think when she was younger, she was exceptionally talented, but I don't think she had that commitment. I think she was okay, with making the age group world team or, taking second or third in trials. I just don't think she knew what she wanted or that had the commitment to achieve it. And then when she turned that on, it was a one-way street and she was brutal. But all of her champions, I mean, the dedication, precision, control. You look at like Helen Maroulis, Adeline Gray, they're meticulous in their preparation, what they want, who they work with, who they're coached by. It has to be so dialed in as you move up the ladder.
And to think it all started with, I believe the story goes, her brother Drew Hildebrandt had a flyer for wrestling, going out for wrestling. I don't think the family had ever heard of it. They brought it home, and here's the ending after the flyer. So if you don't think one moment, one detail, one interaction matters, here's proof.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then to circle it, he was their training partner at the end. And Drew was a very accomplished wrestler at Central Michigan. I think he went to Penn State for a year at the end. He was a very talented wrestler, but really, sacrificed pretty much. I mean, I would say sacrificed a year of his life like it's lost, but he dedicated a year of his life to helping his sister get her dream, which is phenomenal. But I'm not surprised. It's a very strong and close family, so it's good to see that.
Let's end with this, Scott. We are going to leave you with some insights from athletes, teammates, coaches who interacted with Sarah Hildebrandt and know her well.
Hey Sarah, it's Peyton. I just wanted to say congrats on your retirement and having such an amazing career. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to me and so many other women across the country. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Sarah's just part of my soul. I feel like she's just someone that you need in your life. She's the sun, and she's just my very best friend. And I'm just so appreciative of her and her energy, and just grateful to know her and to be in her presence. And you know what she means to the U.S. Sarah represents the horizon, you know, what's coming next in the future. And I think it's so exciting. I'm so just thrilled to watch her on this journey. You know, she's on her next step in this adventure of life, and she's going to bring energy, and she's going to push the boundaries, and it's going to be what the U.S. needs. And I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to contribute from afar, and I'm just grateful for Sarah.
So the question is asked, what does Sarah Hildebrandt mean to me and the USA Wrestling Women's Program? It's hard to put into words. There's a great appreciation for her, I'll tell you that. Not because of what she's done and what she's accomplished as an athlete, but really how she's gone about her business for the last 12 years and becoming the Olympic champion in 2024 in Paris. That was a long road. Right, a long, hard road, and a person that continually came back to the drawing table and reinvented themselves and was willing to commit themselves back to the task at hand when things didn't go right. And I think anytime you have a road like that, you challenge yourself in ways that you never knew you could be challenged, and you find a way to overcome, right? You commit yourself to a task 100%, and knowing that there's no guarantees, and for her to do that over and over and over, and be willing to do that, and then finally cap this off with an Olympic gold medal in Paris was an unbelievable feat. And I think through that process she became a different person, and the skills she's learned and the person she's become is going to be a great asset to the USA Wrestling Women's Program. And she has so much knowledge to give to our athletes, our developing athletes, our national team athletes. There's not a person around or in our national team that doesn't respect her and support her. So we're going to cherish her, and we thank her for being a part of the U.S. women's staff. We're going to miss her. We're going to miss her as a competitor, though, and we're going to feel that. But we've been looking for a value add to our program, and she does that. So we thank her for that, and we look forward to what's coming ahead.
I've had the pleasure of working with Sarah in the past, and I cannot think of a better person having been named as the assistant women's national coach. And Sarah's impact has already been monumental as an Olympic gold medalist. And now she gets to work hands-on and coach and be working with our national team directly. Sarah's just such a role model, and her personality and character is just perfect for this job. She's an inspiration, and she elevates women's wrestling. For me personally, having Sarah in this position brings a sense of just pride and excitement, knowing that Sarah not only competed at the highest level, but also now that she's retired, she can lead, mentor the future stars of our sport. So I am just beyond excited to have Sarah in this position, and I know she's going to do just amazing things.
So what does Sarah mean to me and to wrestling? That is a very complex answer in the most positive way. Sarah has a dynamic character and a genuine spirit, and impacts not hundreds but thousands of people in the most positive way. I'm very grateful and appreciative that she actually chose King as her college, and helped not only set the tone for so many people after her, but just the way that she has represented our school and herself in the sport through her competitive career. And I'm also very grateful to call her a friend. She means a lot to myself and my family, and we just love her. And now she's in a coaching role as a U.S. national assistant coach. And back in October, she actually visited the team and ran a practice, a little short technical practice. But as I watched, I remember thinking, like, just getting a glimpse, and I was at awe. I remember thinking, wow, like, she's going to be a phenomenal coach, phenomenal. And now she's in that role. So we're just all very blessed, the sport's blessed to have Sarah continue to contribute and impact people in the positive way that she always has.
So I didn't realize it was going to be this difficult to make a video on this topic, but I should have guessed it, considering I literally cried when I found out that Sarah was going to be the new women's national team assistant coach. All happy tears. One, selfishly, I'm just so excited and thankful that I get to have her in my corner, but also we have been through so much together, and we've been through so many aspects of life together, and so I'm excited to see her taking these new next steps in her career, and I think she's going to do an amazing job, right? We met in high school at Fargo, actually getting on the bus to Fargo. She was my roommate. She helped me cheat while playing Clue. She was my warm-up partner at the Indiana State wrestling high school wrestling tournament when I was the very first girl to qualify, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without her paving the way. She was my very first and only college loss. We have been on senior world teams together. We've been on trips together. We've lost world titles together. But we've also been on 2 Olympic teams, and one of those, we've literally been through the highs and lows of lows together. I remember in Tokyo sitting on her bed after day 1, after she lost, holding her while she was crying, and just sitting in that with her and having to remind her how great she is and that she still had a job to do, and getting to watch her come back and win that bronze medal, to all the way to just 6 months ago when she won a senior, of course it's senior, it's an Olympic gold medal. I remember sitting in this and just like watching and sobbing. I was straight up sobbing. I was so happy for her. She's made so many sacrifices, and she is just an incredible human, and an amazing wrestler, obviously. But she deserved that moment, and it was so amazing to see what had happened 3 years ago, short quad, to what had happened just 6 months ago. And I had a front row seat to all of it. She has been such an amazing friend, an amazing teammate, right? And I know that she's going to be an incredible coach and an incredible mentor. She has so much to offer USA Wrestling. She knows the goals, right? The goal is to be the top team in the world, right? The top country in the world for women's wrestling. And we have to take out Japan to make that happen. And she has been experiencing this, right, for however many years she's been at the top of the ladder, and she's been representing the U.S. So she knows the weakest points of our program and then our strongest points. And she's going to have a really unique insight to what we need to do to bridge that gap and to become the team that we want to be. And I think that's going to help with the office of USA Wrestling. But then you look at just being on the mat. Her experience is invaluable, right? These sacrifices that she had to make 50 kilo, right? It's crazy, right? And so seeing that as an athlete, knowing what she went through, it's going to be so easy to listen to her if she's, talking about weight cut or diet and the way she did things. Just knowing that she had just lived that experience and that it paid off the way that she wanted, right? That lifestyle change, the mindset that she has an incredible mind for wrestling. And she, as much as she wants wrestling to be an expression of herself and in art form, which we've talked about that wrestling is art and we want to be creative and have fun out there. But she also is such a competitor that she will literally make note cards, sit in the sauna, and quiz herself on her potential opponents. Right? Her and I have different mindsets looking at wrestling, but I can learn so much from her, and I can't wait to sit down and talk in a coach-athlete type of way, and really see why she did what she did and why she made the changes she made, so I can adopt those and hopefully have similar results, right? But then just looking at technique, right? She is obviously the best wrestler in the world, right? She won the Olympic gold. She has so much to offer technically. Her wrestling IQ is so high. I'm so excited it's always fun when I get to roll with her and we play and have fun, and it's great. Or if we are doing matches at the training center, and I mean, obviously I'm a little bit bigger than her, so it is difficult, but when we're going, she's so hard to score on, right? And I learned so much from that, but now having her as a coach, right, I know I'm still gonna get to train with her, and she's still gonna push me, and she'll probably beat me up just the same way she did last year, right? But then she's gonna break it down with me, and I'm gonna be able to learn so much more than just getting my butt beat. We're gonna walk through it all, and I'm so excited to be able to pick her mind in a very different way. At the end of the day, Sarah is going to be an incredible coach. She is a huge asset for USA Wrestling, and we should all be very thankful that we get to live our lives in the same time that Sarah Hildebrandt is going to be a coach. She is going to change the face of USA Wrestling. She is going to change the face of wrestling as a whole, and I am so excited to have her in my corner as more than just a friend and a teammate, but now as a coach. So yeah, congratulations, Sarah. You are going to do an amazing job, and I can't wait to go win some gold with you.